Hey everybody, welcome back to this to this second episode of Backstage Chat Unfiltered. I'm your host, Leah. Nice to see you again. Hi, and I have with me two very talented and very kind artists with me. So I will introduce you to NMSS first. Hi.
Hi everyone.
Can you tell us about yourself?
I'm Nemesis. My name is Sydney. I'm a DJ. I'm a producer as well. I organize parties with my different collectives: Call of Dirty, Viciosa, Chaos Village, and just making music, just being a girl.
That's what we love here. Also with us, we have Jonas Reubens. Hi.
Hi. I'm a freelance photographer and videographer, and I'm also in a collective called Viduta. And I work a lot in like nightlife and Belgian electronic music scene, but lately also a lot of filming and more daytime jobs too.
Thank you so much for introducing yourself. Today I've chosen these two people to talk about a subject that is kind of very taboo in the music industry at the moment, which is politics. And I wanted to start the second episode by asking everyone, is partying political? But why did I chose to talk about this? It's because a couple of weeks ago, actually, I went to this conversation at a place I will not name, like almost everything, because obviously it's Backstage Chat Unfiltered, but there's some filter here. Sorry for the fakeness of the name. But yeah, I went to this conversation, and there was this guy who is owner of a club, and someone asked him a political question, and then when someone asked him his opinions about what is going on with the way the money is spent in the scene, he answered, "I'm neither a politician or politicized, but blah, 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 blah." And when I heard this answer, if you know me a bit, you know that my face spoke for itself. I kind of went like, okay. But I noticed most of the people did not. So I was wondering, is there something wrong with me? Like, am I the one to make it a bigger thing of like, yeah, is it that big or is that not big of a thing? So yeah, the thing is like, for me already, it's not like we're not gonna answer totally the question of the podcast, but is it like political? Yes, for me it is, because there's so many roots within the music industry that are based on politics, and I wanted to see with you, Sydney, if you feel like there's like, yeah, indeed, for like in the music that you do, in like the scene that you are, do you feel that there's some history linked to it, political history or like activism history?
Sure, it is. It is, and I'm really happy that with our generation being political and being vocal about many subjects that concerns us all is really a thing, because I remember 15 years ago it wasn't the case. DJs were not open at all on a lot of subjects. Electronic music was way more middle class washed, whitewashed, straight washed that it is now. And it's good that finally we can, like, some people have the courage to speak openly, and I really respect it. I think when the business takes over, there is not much space for a political discourse, and I'm really happy that people try to do both now.
And Jonas, in like also the things that you do you feel like the political aspect is still present, like in what you do on a daily basis, or is it a bit washed like from your activity in like the videographing or like, yeah, do you see it appearing in some way or?
Wait, what do you mean?
Like my question is mostly like when you start working with festivals, with clubs, do you feel that you have a point of view that is yours that you want to share with the audience that's gonna see the videos or the pictures, or do you feel that maybe you have to share more like of the vision of the festival, the club, like what is your process with that? Also knowing that you're very politicized in your personal life. Like I know that, but if you want to tell us more so about that, like feel free to do so.
Yeah, so I feel like it's definitely finding like a balance between the two, because like in the end you're working for an organization or a festival, and at the end of the day they need to pay you. But like I feel like there are ways you can like actually like hold true to your own values also by just like maybe trying to give a very unfiltered image or video of like that night or that festival, um, in like how much they allow it, of course, but like yeah.
If I may, I think the question is how do our political views translate in our work? I think concerning us, tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't speak to you. I think that everything that we do is political, and we actually think about every decision we do because we don't have much choice, and because we are so conscious about the context, etc. It goes until who do we choose to work with, how do we choose to portray certain things. So even if sometimes it doesn't seem like we are political, actually we are. So like for example me, the way I do my lineups, the way I express myself, like everything actually is thought, and I don't know how it relates to video, but I'm pretty sure it's the same.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. Yeah, I don't have much to add to that.
Um, but I think like what also like you said about the fact that the way you think about the lineups, it's important because you think about who you're gonna put in the lineup, so you think about also their political views. But um, like, is it can we say that maybe the people that work for the big festivals, for the club, the promoters, etc. Do you think that their choice is some way motivated by any political view, or actually do you think that they don't have this going on in their mind when they do it? Like, how do you feel about that? And do you also think that because lots of things we heard, like as I heard from this person who literally is a promoter of the club saying like he's not politician. um how do you feel about this statement?
Thank you. It's a tough question. Thanks for asking. First of all, I think that it's very recent, the way we think about representativity, and I really love how much progress we did. I think right now is really a time for extreme droitisation, like far right being more and more present, taking more and more space. But I'm really happy that in the progressive, like in the leftist area that we are, this question about representation is more and more present. I have to say I'm still very underwhelmed by the presence of black women on lineups. Like if anyone hears me, like I'm talking to big owners, clubs. I'm talking Fuse, C12, etc. I'm not scared to name them. The amount of black women is like really low. So this is still something we have to work on. But yeah, I think when you are a promoter now, to answer your question, you have a lot of business issues that you have to deal with the question of how many people will enter the club, will these people buy whiskey, cokers, stupid stuff like this. You stop thinking about the music. You stop more and more analyzing artists through the exposure, through social networks, etc. And this depoliticize everything, and this decontextualize every artist. There is one thing we don't do right now, which to me is really important, is taking the background of the people, like the social class, the education, etc. I think we should have more unprivileged DJ. Like when I say unprivileged, I mean like from the hood. I mean like not having rich parents. And this is something promoters. This is something artistic directors don't take seriously.
And like how can the ticket prices and like the exclusivity also of these spaces impact the crowd in the end? How does this work? Like, is it something that goes on then because these people come from a certain class? Like, does it change the way that like these spaces are depoliticized also? Because we see now all these big events that sell these high price tickets, and or also for you from your point of view of like just being in the crowd also, do you feel like there's less open values in this type of spaces rather than maybe in like the underground scene? Because I know you also hang out in the more underground scene, either not obviously electronic, but like other underground scenes. So do you see this imbalance going on, and what do you think about it?
So yeah, I feel like having like high ticket prices definitely excludes like a large group of people, and like to me, like you can definitely see that a bit in like the people attending. Like yeah, you immediately like notice it a bit. I feel like also when I'm like at an event photographing, and you immediately notice like, okay, these people have like enough money to get like stupid wasted on expensive drinks, and are it's not really about the music that much anymore. While as in like underground music, like or like underground culture, with like say an event with a ticket price of €5, whatever. I feel like people really come there to see actually like the acts, and like of course they still drink something, but it's less about like, how do you say it, just being there for being there, and just because everyone is there, and like, oh, there's like super crazy artists playing, and but like, yeah, I think like the issue of like high ticket prices really like, yeah, excludes like a lot of people. Like I also hear it a lot, like when I say like I have to photograph at this festival or at this festival, a lot of my friends say like, ah, that's super cool, but like, yeah, it's so expensive. I don't think I'll go. Like, that's how I like already see it in that way.
And Sydney, when you play to actually these type of festivals, because you also play sometimes in the underground scene, and mostly like, but mostly actually on some bigger scenes and places that are sometimes having the wide crowd. Do you feel a sense of also a responsibility to share political values? And do you think, like it's a big question and another big question, do you think other people feel like so too? Because still, as Jonas said, people don't really come for the music most of the time in this expensive event. They come to get wasted. How do you feel about that?
This responsibility, I'm not so sure if a lot of people share it. Meat will translate more in the tracks that I choose to play. I think being a DJ is a compromise between what you like and between what the audience expects and what the audience wants to hear. And I always try to find this compromise. Of course, playing music from producers that are not so established, that comes from very different backgrounds, very different ethnicities, gender or sexual orientation, etc. Lots of people don't understand this because some people would say it's about the music and it's only about the music, and then it decontextualize everything. Some other people do not even care about the music; it's only about the business. Um, yeah, it's a tough question. It's true we have talked a lot about how festival are way more like they don't include everyone. I love the fact that there is more and more community tickets in the club world. I think this should exist for festival as well. Let's see if there is more inclusivity in the future, but honestly, it doesn't tend to get that way at the moment. So
Um, but for me, what's interesting in this, it's like this is such a statement from these big places to say, hey, we have community tickets. Because obviously it's super expensive to throw whatever. Obviously it's yeah, it can be hard, but having these community tickets also help to maintain a sense of value in the scene, because we talked about this in the last episode. But the origins basically of, if we speak of techno, they come from marginalized communities. They grew in Detroit in the US in the 80s from black gay people. And we see so many musical movements that have rose from the marginalized communities that had to fight for their rights. And all the music is there because there was a message that I wanted to be shared with everyone. And so that's what's making it so much harder to see, I think, also, like for me, like to be in these spaces and to have to work there and to see around us all these people that tell us like, oh no, but it's not about politics. Because how do you tell us that it's not about politics when the reason that these things exist is literally because communities had some stuff to say, and people that were from a not from a, I would say bad social class, but not bad, but like a poor social class, the people that have to fight, they were the ones who made that a reality and made it for us able to enjoy these things. So I think that's quite harsh to have this type of answer. And also, what's bothering me the most is now in a time where when there's so many genocides happening live, to see the people saying no, it's not about politics, when we see also the crowds shifting in the spaces. Like there is way less like, as someone who goes out a lot, I would say in Brussels, my analysis is like there's way less Arabic people in the clubs at the moment. There is way less black people in the clubs at the moment. I cannot say what it was like 10, 15, 20 years ago, but from the past 3 years, it's like fewer people. Because why would these people want to go there if the people that own it say it's depoliticized, and then at the same time shit are happening? So yeah, how could we make these spaces more like open to?
it's actually weird when you think that electronic music and hip hop are born at the same time from the same roots, which means breakbeats, turntables, etc. When you take artists like Africa Bambaataa back in the days, like you couldn't define if it was electro or if it was rap, and you see how those two genres shifted completely differently. How rap music was very political, and with the mainstream success became more and more capitalistic, and how electronic music is doing the same, but has been whitewashed since the beginning. Since the beginning, because the industry, because selling whiskey coca is actually more important in this scene than everything. It's actually crazy, and we simply forget where this music comes from. But for artists like us, it's obvious that music is political. It can only be political because music is always an answer to a context. But to promoters, it's only a way to make a living. So if you take values, if you take ideology into this, you will lose money because you're not trying to go niche, you're trying to aim for the masses. And the only way to actually concurrencer these spaces is to build to build spaces that are not based on business. Like business has to be taken accountability because we live under capitalism. But if it become the goal, then the substance really goes away, and there is no fight really for us to say, oh yeah, clubs work like this, festival work like this. It's sad. It will always be like this. It's up to us to actually create initiative that compete with those institutions.
And about this, I think what's interesting it's the nuance of it all, because obviously, like the three of us, we kind of see it in the same way. But then when, for example, like Jonas, you work sometimes with these festivals that kind of say they think about diversity, even though they kind of do, like it's kind of diverse, still has some issues, but then they start to work with like these big corporations to do collaborations, and they start to do, like they work with the corporations for the drinks, they work with the corporations for the partnerships to get the money. How do you view yourself? Like, do you feel that the the work that you do has the same meaning as it could be having if it was like these collaborations were not happening or not? And how do you feel about this system? Because the way that you have the job comes from that, etc. And I can also do like kind of a balance for you also, like when you play at the big festivals get the money from the partnerships also. So like I want to have your opinions about this, and the fact that like most of the promoters, most of the people like in marketing also say like, but if we don't do that, then we don't like lots of people don't have a job, lots of teams don't have a job. We cannot just like live from nothing, blah 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 blah. And I just want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I think it's always like for me at least, like when I see like festivals or get like jobs with like these kind of partnerships, it's always like first for me personally looking like, yeah, doing a bit of research of course, and like, okay, what is this brand that they're partnering up with, in what way, like what is this company doing to improve itself ethically, if it's problematic of course. And but you also said like it's all about money, and unfortunately also for us like working as a freelancer, like sometimes you have to make like a hard decision in like how bad is like this collaboration. Should I let it slide, or like do I miss a lot of chances when accepting this, or do I block some roads through accepting this? And like for me, I always try to check this before like just saying yes to something. But like I feel for now like I've always been able to maintain that balance a bit, like without coming too close to like the gray zone. But yeah.
I personally think that every art has the same problem. It's the sponsoring. Actually, where does the money comes from? When you take cinema, when you take really basically any art form, it always go back to that, like they, a lot of people comptent sur les marques to get some money to build major events, and this is the reason why in the end the music shifts towards a depoliticized thing, because then those brands that actually give the money away want to do it for stuff that's not niche, that's not radical, and that allows to sell fucking alcohol. So yeah, really, at the same time, it doesn't matter how militant I am. I have to pay my rent, and I have to make those decisions for myself too. It's not only the big festivals, it's not only the big clubs. I have to sometimes to accept to work for a certain event or with a certain brand or to do stupid advertisement, whatever, because I have to pay my rent. And this is the exact same thing for the institutions. It's just on a much bigger scales, but their action influence the whole scene, whereas my actions don't influence much. And because those actors don't take responsibility for their choice, then we are in a situation right now where stuff gets washed really easily.
So, in the end, who should feel responsible for the way things go? Should it be the organizers? Should it be the party goers? Should it be the artists that accept something? Because then it's all a system that profits everyone's in itself. Like, who's
It's never the fault of individuals, it's always the system. And we can blame them as much as we want. The club owners, they are individuals just like us, and they will make choices based off money. But actually, until the system is not fixed, those mistakes will happen again and again and again. It's a systemic thing.
for me, it's still, I think, obviously, as you said, it's like nobody is responsible. I see it the other way. I think everybody's responsible. I feel we're all responsible for our decisions, even though our decisions can mean that we take these decisions to just live and eat and have a roof and all those things. But I still think that you can do more, because in the end we see it's still, I feel like it's every episode will go down to that in some way, but like it's always the individual that are the more marginalized that feel like they can do more. So you see sometimes some festivals that share some political views, but then it's a risk, because can they work with this big corporation who's going to sponsor them if they share their values, if they share their political opinions? And for the artist also, like, they can play this set or they can play these tracks, but sometimes playing one track can be also a risk. And same goes to everyone, like the way we dress. We can decide to go to the job, like I also do videos sometimes, so I could decide, okay, I can go doing the videos like all in black, because most of the time all the videographers, photographers are dressed in black, because it's like kind of the code. But we could also go because we know that we're going to be visible on the stage with a statement on our back. But is the statement on our back worth the whatever goes on? Because then, yeah, it's all a chain, but I feel like everybody's kind of allowed to, yeah, to do a bit more and take a risk. But like, yeah, till what extent is the risk really a risk? Because is the risk the same for you and for you as it is for the person who owns the festival, for the person who is the organizer, which most of the time, as again we said in the last episode, most of the time it's people that come from some wealth. So is it really a choice and an individual decision? Because we say like the system is kind of broken, but what's a way that we could, like, what are ways we could highlight this? Do you feel like maybe Jonas with like the way like you share images, the way you can also, yeah, as you said before, like, because I think it's, for me, it's such a tool to be showing what's going on inside a place. But then, do you feel sometimes, yeah, it's like questioning the question, but do you feel sometimes that from what you send to some organizer, is your voice sometimes censored from what they share? Or is that not happening most of the time? Do they respect the fact that you just want to share your art in the way that it is?
Oh, yeah, I feel like there's definitely been like occasions that like the pictures that I really liked and that really for me like conveyed like the vibe or emotions that I felt at that event didn't make like the cut because it's like too dark or too blurry or like too edgy or whatever. Um, but yeah, like to me, it's always about like trying to translate like this feeling I have when I enter a place as truthfully as possible. Like, and that's like kind of like the again the difficult balance you have to maintain, like because you're working for someone and they want those pictures to invite people to come there also to their next edition or whatever. But like, yeah, if the vibes are good, then that's great. But like if it's not that good, then I find it very hard to like force myself and make it seem look nice and fun and intense and like everyone's dancing, while actually sometimes everyone's just talking and no one is like really caring or anything. Like, yeah.
Um, I also think in the way like we send sometimes like our images to the venues, to the festivals. Um, like obviously they wanna sell the tickets, so they're gonna use, as like you said, sometimes you send the ones that are like maybe blurry and dark, and then they cannot show the fun. They can show some art, but they cannot show the fun, and so in the end, like all the creative work that goes around the party and the festival, that is mostly visuals, it's kind of losing its art. Maybe it's just me that thinks that. I don't know. It's kind of losing this artistic aspect. It's just picturing. Yeah, it's just picturing a marketing aspect. It's just picturing uh, a way to sell, which in the end goes back to, is the party really to share something that's pure and human, or natural and real, or is it to just sell something? And for you, for example, for your collectives, when you work with photographers from the outside, do you still think about this thing about like selling when you post and when you're gonna share? Um, or is it just, okay, it's beautiful, we want to show the beautiful?
Yeah, yeah. Of course, we wanna sell. We want to appeal. It's marketing. So we are part of the system too. But at the same time, we are not only driven by those ideas. We also want to give an portraits of our audiences and about how the party was. Um, so many things are taken in consideration. Saying that we don't want to make money would be a lie from me. But at the same time, we also share very strong values and we fight for them. And it will show in the music we play, in the way we dress, and in the way we make the graphic design and the videos and everything. So at the end of the day, it's not only aesthetic, but it is a big part of it.
You just said something about you sharing the way you dress in your type of parties. What we've been seeing now a lot on social media and also in the clubs and mostly in the techno, hard techno community is this appeal to a type of outfit, and I think that for the longest time, every community musically always had their type of vibe. Like you go to the rock concerts, there's the leather jackets. You go to the hip hop shows, it's gonna be mostly streetwear. And then now you go to these techno places, and there's the harness, the all these black things. But one thing that so bothers me the most, it's like I'm wondering how is that dress code as accessible as it can be to others on a on a inclusion aspect, because this is like what's for a music that's so rooted in like a activism, and so rooted in like a ethical ideas. I'm wondering how these these pieces of clothes that are actually kind of expensive, like a harness, it's expensive, but then how do these what's the word? How can these like show the values now, like that? How can you? I don't know if that was clear. But
Yeah, I think I got it. I'm not
Okay.
so sure, but I think what you say revolves around the question of commodify. So, which means now this techno uniform, as we call it, so like comes from BDSM, actually, from the BDSM community, from the queer community, basically, and which was really such a strong stance before, like such a counterculture way to dress, and really meant something. But now it has been commodified, and now it became a business, and now it's really expensive, and now it doesn't mean anything. And that's the thing. When a very small niche meets the mainstream, then business takes its way, and this is where things start to lose their substance. So now we see like BDSM in the most stupid films that claims they are feminist, but actually like are completely anti-feminist. I'm not gonna cite any name, but and the question is actually up to us. What do we do with our culture? What do we do with our way to express, with our codes? And people sometimes lose this responsibility, as you said, and I agree with what you said earlier. We are all responsible, and yeah, it's true now that the all black leather coded way to dress is now really a cliche, unfortunately. Whereas before, it was actually so good.
And also, I think that in the space, because as you said, it's coming from the BDSM community, but now this code of everybody being bare chest is also going on, and I actually don't have any. On a personal level, I don't have an issue with people being bare chest, but I think, as you said, like we lose a sense of, I think that's what you said, community with what's going on. It's like there's no thoughts behind those eyes. People don't think about the way it can impact others. They don't think about how it can have like how it's mostly the white cis hetero males that can dress like this, because whenever your body doesn't look all skinny and muscly and light and perfect, and that's not accepted either. And yeah, that's why I'm always wondering who has the responsibility in those spaces. Should it be the crowd in the end? Should it be sometimes the marketing team that shows that, oh, it's also the way that we appreciate our crowd to show at these events, like when we film the videos, when we do the pictures? Or is it sometimes the promoters, the owners behind it that could put a policy behind it to make it more accessible to everybody overall? Because yeah, for me that's a strong political aspect. Like politics are about basic rights, and in those spaces it's showing off as we think that society is working best when the cis hetero white males have the power, which is so fucked up and so harsh for everyone. And I'm also wondering if, like, because I have maybe been in the electronic music scene less long than both of you. Do you think that there was a better sense of community, and it was more like everybody was on the same level a while ago, maybe before, um, before COVID, or do you think it was always like this?
It's true, this is a big debate now about how people go topless on the dance floor. I find it really interesting. I find it really interesting because I think 10 years ago when we started, it wasn't really much of a topic. Now it is, and the topic is not really about being topless, it's more about being a man on a dance floor and about the space that you take. And I really appreciate the way people in care teams, etc., try to make the dance floor more inclusive, especially for women. But yeah, true. Like actually, like showing your chest or taking your boobs out, like no one really cares. It's much more about how you make other people feel. How, because most of the time those men's, like those straight men's, they touch people. They touch people and they lean on people and they cannot walk straight, and then it gets really annoying. I'm not really sure if this is part of all this political debate we're having right now, but I really like how we actually tell men how to behave now on a dance floor, because this has never been done before. And this freedom, because dance floor club is such a beautiful space of freedom, this freedom was unlimited for straight men. And now they live a little bit how black people live, how women live, which means when you are in a public space, people will tell you how to behave. And now we see the how to say this, the dynamic changing, and this is really interesting.
I think that's very in topic of political situation, because as you said before, there was this imbalance going on, and it was some people were ruling. I still don't see it as like, we the women and like we the queer people we're directing, or like you the black people you're directing. It's just actually just basic respect, and unfortunately it has to be a guideline in some spaces. But yeah, it's just basic human behavior, and people don't know how to fucking behave, and that's so harsh, and that's sad that we go to this point, and that's yeah, and then it all changes, because for me it's still getting back to this, um is parting political, and then, well, when you go to these spaces when the white cishet males have all the power, how is it not political? How is it not fucking political, when the marginalized voices are silenced because it's all white dudes in the lineup? How is this not fucking political when it's only in the media teams white guys? How is this not political when it, like, of course, like there's some okay white dudes, guys. It's okay, not all men. Like we all know that's not the point. Like it's just we have to realize what our privileges are in life. First of all, this is your free therapy of today. But we have to realize what our privileges are, and then we can act on them. And that's the tricky thing, I think, in the industry we're in, because we're all doing that because we're so in love with music. We're so passionate. It has been a dream for all of us to be there, to have all this going on around us, to be surrounded by artists, blah, blah, blah. But then it's not the same dream for everyone, because then we see people doing it for money, for power, for fun, because they can. But then just get back to why are all these musical moments going on? Is it because it's just about money, or is it because it's about, yeah, it's about community, and this is like a necessity? Because in times where now everything is going crazy and we see all these crazy things going on, yeah, like we now have all these compilations, like musical compilations going on that support like the like Palestine or Ukraine or Sudan. We have these events going on that support also them to give money to people that are in needs at the moment. And do yeah how would they do without it at the moment? How would they do if like these musical moments weren't going on? I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, these events I went to were so meaningful. Like it was they were the most meaningful ones and the ones that made most sense. But still, we know that most of the people don't care about this. Like we know that they don't care, but the reality is like even though sometimes the lineups aren't the best, like you're profiting from those people who are suffering, guys. Like you're doing so, like yeah. And I don't know for you, but I think it's important to talk about this.
Um, what was the question? Sorry, I forgot.
No, it was mostly like also speaking
How
about
do
all
I
these
feel?
things going on now that
Oh
help
yeah, yeah, yeah.
support
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ukraine,
Oh yeah, true, true,
Palestine.
true,
Because
true. Yeah, thank you.
and actually you did a track that was to
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Omis for Palestine. I believe that there is something that changed a lot after COVID. Tell me if I'm wrong, but this is a really strong feeling that I have is that people used to party to escape. People used to party to forget, kind of. And now people go to party and they expect to gain something from that party. Not to gain something like financially or but like that something stays with them after the party and that they will remember. And this quest for sense for meaning actually created so many beautiful events that are super political and that's actually helped a lot of communities earn money. So yeah, me personally, I always thought that this would be the way that party would become something more healthy, and to see it like in action and then participating in it really made me feel super happy. And I actually believe that party is becoming healthier and healthier, and that in 10 years from that, party will be completely different. And I think we're just actually coming back to the roots of partying. Like party actually comes from religious practice, actually from spiritual practice. Like it basically it was a ritual thing, and I think now we coming a little bit more to this, and really I'm curious to see how this will end.
But do you still think though that festivals or venues, do they owe the people to stand for something? Do they owe, like, do they have to, or should they not?
It's a tricky question because if you force everyone to be political, then some people that don't have awareness, some people that don't have knowledge about politics, etc., might do some fucked up shit. So um, it's better to leave it to professionals like us, of course. But what I mean is, no one owes anything to anyone. Basically, it's up to anyone to take responsibility for their action. But I don't want to see a big festival like Dour now saying, okay, we will now have a stage for queer Palestinians. And then like fucking tokenize the shit out of Palestinians, whatever, instead of they never thought about them any fucking second. So yeah, it's a tricky question. If you feel something, if you stand for something, actually do it. And if you don't, Just respect the people who does.
Like, yeah, sometimes I also feel, because I also go to a lot of like concerts, like, and festivals in like more rock, punk, hardcore music, and like every time, like, there's like sometimes three bands playing, sometimes five. When it's a festival, like it's 2 days full of bands, and I feel like I'm also like sometimes a bit disappointed when bands don't like make time to address like some political issues, because like of course punk music and hardcore music is like struggle music, of course, and like for me it's also like sometimes disappointing to see like people actually not addressing or not using like their stage time to, like, even if it's like 30 seconds or whatever. And like the other thing I've also seen, like, that at a festival you feel like they're actually being like pressured because all of the other bands did say something about it, and now they feel like, I have to say something about it too, but I don't know that much about it actually, or I don't care about it. But like, yeah, in that way I feel like bands can owe the people something, but
Yeah, it's better. As you said, it's better, of course, not to speak if you know nothing. But I mean, that's kind of the basic of this podcast. It's like I said in the first episode, it's like or did I? We're all like experts of everything and of nothing. Like we know so much because we live so much, but we know so few because we didn't study everything. We don't have all the facts. And everybody has their own experience and own interpretation of everything. And the thing is, um, in my opinion, also, if we expect people to speak up about something and expect them to know, of course, if they do speak up and they don't know, it's going to be bad. But the reality is, it's you can get to understand something if you want to. We all at some point didn't know about a subject. We all at some point had some different perceptions about some stuff. But for me, it's the moment you realize that everything that you do, like all your success, is based on the fact that you profit of something or someone, of a system, of people, of whatever. The moment you realize this is the moment you're gonna start doing things better, and it's the moment you're gonna have a better impact on your community. And yes, it's easy to be a big club, to be a boys collective and not say anything because you're not the first target of it. But then what, you think you will, like, if you're straight, you will never have a girlfriend that can be a victim of a system? You think that you will never be, if you're even a white woman, you think you will never be friends with like a black trans person? Like, are you so sure of that? Are you so sure that you want to be in a system that will never be helpful to your friends? Even though that's not the way we should think. We should not think, I just want to help the people that I like. But, like, guys, this is the reality of life. Please wake up. Like, we're not all just living for ourselves. And unfortunately, we saw that it's kind of the way things go. Because, like, during COVID, everybody ran for the toilet paper. Everybody ran for, like, the flour and to just get the same things for themselves. But at the end of the day, is the party fun because there's two of you, or is the party fun because there's hundreds of you? Is the music good because it's just one person who does one type of music, or is the music good because there's all this diversity of influences and of things that come from so many different places and so many different voices and so many different inspirations? Start thinking. You don't have to be super educated, even though I hate the word educated, because life educates you. You wake up, you're educated about what the day was about. Okay, we get it. So yeah, I just think it's like, guys, wake up. Just wake. start living in this world. If you like to party, fine, but why should you be the only one to have the best time? There's other people around you, and if you can help in some ways, that should be a thing that you want to do. If I can influence you to do something, because that's my point. We can have our own opinions, and that's just one thing I wanted to say also, because you said like everybody is entitled to have their own opinion and do or not do something. But I would say people are also allowed to not appreciate what you do or what you not do and tell other people about it. Because if nobody tells anything about what you do or don't do, then nothing will ever happen and nothing will ever change. And then, yeah, okay, great. You will have the same formula. Your life will be the same all your life. And, okay, fun. Like, great.
The defensiveness in electronic music is actually crazy. Yeah, I think there is not many art forms that are like this, like really you cannot be critical. And if you do, they will stop making business with you. Yeah, this is just insane.
We're almost finished with this episode. So thank you already, both of you. I think this one was a bit more serious than last one. We were a bit more, like I don't have any word to say about this, but I wanted to see with you, do we think like that nightlife can continue to be a safe and authentic space for both celebration and activism? What do you wish for the future of the partying to be?
Yeah, actually, I want to give a very special shout out to Fat Sabat and RIP Décor Atelier, who in Brussels made party an activist thing. There is many new thing that will happen. I'm really happy with what just been created. Is it Zawa Sound something? In France, it's like supporters from La France Insoumise who organize parties now. Shout out Daniel Raz. But yeah. I really am curious to see what the future opportunities will be, and it's actually up to us to create spaces and to not rely on those clubs and those festivals.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I feel like the underground electronic music scene is definitely like on the right path again, and like I just hope some of it, like its values are infectious enough to like blow over to like maybe like some of the bigger city festivals or bigger clubs or whatever. Like it doesn't have to be like all at the same time, but hopefully like in time some of it can come as like a realization maybe.
In the end, the best way to do it is not to state something because you think you have to state something. It's take little actions into digging more into who you can book somewhere. It's sometimes if you have some good financial situation, invest in the people that suffer from this complicated industry. If you see your favorite artist struggling to pay because it's expensive to produce a track, you can send them money. Like they probably have three different jobs to be able to be a full-on artist. Help them. Like if you can help them, just help them. It's sometimes that easy. If you're a promoter, maybe take a stand against. Yeah, it's easier said than done. But maybe take a stand against the artists that ask you for 50,000 euros, and maybe give a bit more to the local scene to be able to help them, either in the booth or outside of the booth. So, yeah, start thinking a bit more. Ask questions to others, and we'll probably see you on the next episode next week. Thank you so much. Nemesis and Jonas, thank you so much for being here with me. I want also to ask you all if you want to see anyone on the podcast in a month. If some of you want to speak about the backstage taboo subject with me in this booth at GIMIC Radio in Brussels, please tell me. Come in my DMs. I don't bite. Or maybe sometimes I do, but I'm just a girl. Thank you, everyone. See you soon.